This is still 6.1, where we are using matrices to solve a system of equations. That was Friday. We need to make an augmented matrix, and we're going to do it again on this number 2. I handed out a paper with all of these on it on Friday, but the original number 2 had 4 variables in it, and I've changed it. So if you're using a handout that I gave you, you might cross out number 2, hit pause, and rewrite this one. So this one's a touch easier than what I typed because it only has 3 variables, and I promise I'm never going to ask one with more than 3. We want to start by making an augmented matrix. And to do that, we drop all the letters, use only the coefficients. We'll ignore equal signs, we'll ignore plus signs. Where you don't see a number is where we'll write a 1 like you just saw me doing. So let's write that out. All right, that is our augmented matrix. Technically, you're supposed to put a vertical line right here, but I don't really care about that. All right, what we are going to do next is we need to rearrange that matrix and maybe multiply or add things to it so that we have a diagonal of 1s and we have 0s in those positions. All the other spots, we don't care. The textbook writes letters there. I don't know if that makes sense or confuses y'all, but where these letters are written over here, that just means we don't care what numbers end up being right there. All we care about is that these numbers become 0s and these numbers, this diagonal, needs to become 1s. Once we get that far, we're done with the matrices. This method, or the final product, is called row echelon form. All right, let's give it a try. We're allowed to multiply a row by something and add it to another row. We're allowed to flip rows and subtract a row from another. Looking at it, I see a 1 top left. That's a good thing because look at the black matrix over on the top left. We have a 1 top left. So we're done with the first row. Let's start by copying the first row. You know what? I meant to use green. Let's use green. So we're writing the first row because that is a 1. We are done with row 1. Row 2, I am looking at that leading 2 right there. I need that to become a 0. So I could multiply the third row by 2. Let me write this down. And then add it to row 2. If I do that, negative 1 times 2 is negative 2, add it to 2, and we get 0. Now go slow here, don't mess up. 2 times 1 is 2. Add it to negative 1, and we get 1. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Add it to 1, and we get negative 3. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Add it to 4, we get negative 4. All right, now I am looking at this negative 1 right here. I need that to become a 0. If I add row 1 and row 2, I'll have a 0. Sorry, row 1 and row 3, I said that wrong. So we get 0, and then let's add all the others. We get negative 1, negative 3, and negative 2. All right, we're close. We finished column 1. Let's copy row 1. I was writing too big earlier. We'll run out of room. We're actually done with row 2 as well. See how we have a 0 and a 1? That 1 we weren't really planning on tackling yet, but it randomly turned into a 1. This thing's like a Rubik's Cube. It shifts. It's like a ripple effect. When you change one thing, other things change. So we're done with row 1, row 2. Now I just need to wrap up row 3. I already have a 0. I need that that negative 1 to turn into a 0. So I am looking at this negative 1 right here. I can do the same idea I did a second ago and combine row 2 and row 1, and that'll cancel out. Let me write that. Did I say row 1 again? We want to add row 2 and row 3. And we get 0. We get 0, negative 6, and negative 6. Now we're really close. Copy row 1 and 2 again. And I need that negative 6 right here to turn into a 1. So if I multiply by negative 1/6, oops, it'll turn that negative 6 into a 1. Coincidentally, the last number is also now a 1. All right, the reason why we did all of this, all those columns are still associated with letters. So I know if I add the letters back on there, x minus 2y minus z equals 2, y minus 3z equals negative 4, and lastly z equals 1. So we know what z is. Let's plug that into the second equation. Y equals negative, y minus 3 times 1 equals negative 4. Y must be negative 1. Out of room on the right. Let's go back to left. X minus 2 times negative 1 minus 1 equals 2. And we're done. Hope that made sense. There will be one more example after this.